All right. Welcome everybody to UX and ATX. We appreciate you being here on this June evening. It's the summer solstice, the longest night of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere. My name is Cindy Brummer, and I am one of the organizers for UX and ATX. Also been handling a lot of the programming this year. And tonight, I'm really excited for our topic. Hopefully you saw my email and you saw that our speaker that we had lined up for tonight was not able to make it and let me know pretty much like just a few days ago. So I scrambled and I asked Heather, oh my God, I need something. And so she was very gracious to come up with an idea for a topic that I thought was actually really interesting, and a lot of UXers that I know don't know a lot about it. So I thought it would be a very good substitution for tonight. Um, we'll get to that just one second, but let me tell you, we do have a couple more talks lined up. We do have a July 16th virtual event, and that one is going to be on facilitation skills. And then we also have an event in early August. I believe it's August 5th. Everything right now is on the uxandatx.com website. You can find our events there. You can find it on Meetup. And as we continue to book more events, we'll make sure they're in both places. If you are not part of the Slack channel, I will go ahead and drop the join link in the chat, but you can find that on our website and you can find that on Meetup as well. That's a great place to keep conversations going in between our meetups, which we try to have every month. So now for our main event. I am really excited that Heather Herrick is here to talk about SEO fundamentals for UXers. She's going to have a whole bunch to show us. We're going to take our full hour, and I might even be able to show you one or two things here too. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and hand it over to Heather.
Thank you, Cindy. Let me go ahead and get things set up here. All right, can y'all see my slideshow? I see some thumbs up. Awesome, thank you for that. I was going to try to change this window, but that's so hard to do. So hard to see everybody when you're actually sharing screen, right? It's one of those annoying things. Okay, so thanks for coming today. We're going to talk a little bit about SEO, but first, I wanted to just give you a little bit of an introduction to who I am. So I'm Heather, and I own a company called Making Waves Web Solutions. I was a biology and marine science instructor for a lot of years. I love the ocean, scuba diving, gardening, nature. So science always felt supernatural to me. But in 2021, I found myself wanting a career change. I wanted to do something completely different. So I found something called UX design and took this intensive boot camp course. So I bet that probably sounds like a lot of you all right now. And it was a huge change going from science to going to UX and something more techy. I started making waves thinking that I would just build websites for small businesses. But what I found is that small business owners really need to understand their websites and be able to maintain them and make updates on them. And they have, for the most part, they have no clue how to do that. So with my background in teaching and curriculum development, I started building courses to teach people how to, at complete beginner people who know nothing about tech, how to build and maintain their websites. So now I have my Making Waves courses, and I have SEO kind of woven into many of the different lessons because it comes into play in different places in a website. So as you all know, in UX, it's important to understand SEO, and because UX is so diverse, when and how you actually use SEO will vary super widely depending on what you're doing, who you're working with, who your clients are, and a million different things. So I know that you'll use SEO, but I can't tell you exactly how you'll use SEO because it depends so much on what your individual job might be. So let's just take a look at what we're going to talk about today. So first, I'm just going to give you a basic introduction into SEO. Then we'll get in a little deeper and talk about keywords, the Yoast plugin, content and image optimization, and links. And then we'll talk about how SEO takes a lot of patience, which I think is the most frustrating part of it all. So first, what is SEO and why should you care? So a lot of people don't really, they know SEO is important. They'll talk about SEO, but they don't even know what it is. And SEO stands for search engine optimization. And before we get in too far, I want to first say just that a lot of people think that by optimizing a website for Google, for the computer, that means sacrificing the actual user experience. And if you do it right, the exact opposite is the case. The two should absolutely go hand in hand. Good SEO should dovetail right along with good user experience. So doing the two should really actually build a better website for both. So that's just something to remember as we get in and talk about it. So search engine optimization is optimizing your website to rank higher in search engine results. I'm going to generally say Google here because that's typically the search engine that's most popular that we all use. But anytime I say Google, I mean any and all of the search engines. You could use Bing or whatever other Yahoo, whatever other search engine you might be using, that's fine. But I'm just going to use the word Google because honestly, it's easier. So, there we go. Google only loves you when everyone else loves you first. Wendy Pearsall is a very successful blogger. And I feel like this quote sounds a little bit pessimistic at first, right? Like you have to have a huge audience before Google loves you. But if you do it right, if you think about SEO from the beginning, you can build the two together. And it doesn't have to be a thing where you can't get any hits until you already have a huge audience. So when you're building websites, think about building the two together. And when you're working with clients, help them to understand that that building the two will build a stronger foundation for a website. Okay, so the 4 strategies that we're going to talk about today are the keywords, the Yoast plugin, content, and image optimization, and then we'll get into internal, external, and backlinks. So first, keywords. So keywords are just the words or phrases that people enter into Google to look for information. So those are their keywords. What you want in a website is to find the keywords that people will use to find you. Okay, so sometimes that can be really easy to do. Sometimes that might be a little bit harder. So somebody unmute and throw out a couple of keywords that we might use if we are looking for a job in UX design.
User experience.
Okay, user experience would be a real good, obvious one, right? And hopefully that would be one of the top keywords that most job descriptions, when they want to find someone, are using. So that's a super good keyword in that particular case. We can also start to consider long tail keywords. And those are phrases that are 3 or more words, sometimes, 5 or 6 words even, that can get down into a specific niche. So you just told me user experience. What if I have a really specific job that I want where I want to only do, I don't know, interviews with giant rooms of people and do the surveys and interview questions for that? What would I still type in the same keywords, or would it be something different? That wasn't a great job description, was it? But in that case, I might add something like UX design, interviews, survey people, something like that, right? And figuring that long tail keyword out might take a little bit more practice, a little bit more refinement. You might have to Google 4 or 5 times before you really get into it and figure out the right way to say that, right? The same is true when figuring out keywords for a website. You might have to try a few different ones before you find the right thing. So I'm going to stop the presentation and we're going to go look at a couple of tools, and I want you all to open up a Google window and look with me at these tools. Okay, so again, I can't get to where I want to get to because There we go. Okay, so the first one is Google Trends. If you just open up a Google window and type in Google Trends in the search bar, it should come right up. Everybody doing it? Awesome. And then, okay, I told you I like gardening, right? So I'm going to type in gardening first. As you might guess, gardening. So, okay, it starts off with just the present day. So it's going to range in time. Like you can see, there's a lot more hits at whatever time this is than there are, say, at 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So I'm going to instead say over the past, let's just say over the past week, 7 days. You could go 7 days, 30 days. There's a lot of options here to look at. But 100 means essentially the highest level of searching, and 0 means that very few people are searching it. So you can see gardening ranges from essentially 50 to 100 all the time. So it's a really popular topic, right? As you might expect, right? Everybody talks about gardening. It's pretty common. We can also see if there are places in the US where people are searching gardening more. People are searching gardening in Alaska a lot right now, probably because, as Cindy said, we're super close to the summer solstice. This is the time they can grow stuff in Alaska. They only get to do that for like 3 months a year. Okay, here's something interesting. We have syntropic gardening here. I don't know what that is, but it's jumped up a whole lot in the last few days. So clearly there's something in the news or something interesting going on with syntropic gardening. We can also hit this compare button. And so I think I told you I have a degree in botany, right? And I used to work as a botanist. So I'm going to write in botany. Gardening and botany are kind of synonyms, right? They're pretty similar. But when we look at the two, look how many fewer people are searching for botany versus gardening. Like a whole lot less, right? Now, let me ask a question. I want somebody to unmute and answer. Which would be better to use as a keyword on a website, gardening or botany?
Gardening.
Okay. Any other
Botany.
thoughts?
Depends
Okay.
on what your purpose is.
It does. It depends. So there are schools of thought both ways, but if I use gardening as a keyword, I have a lot of competition, right? There are millions of different websites about gardening, and they use gardening as a keyword. There are a lot fewer websites that use botany as a keyword. So depending on exactly what I want, I might be better off to use botany as my keyword because there isn't as much competition for it. So, you got to kind of think about it in that way. So it could go either way, depending on exactly what your goals are and what you're doing. We can get even a little bit more. A lot of times in Google Trends, this doesn't always work super well, but let's go a little bit more niche and say, I'm going to say growing avocados. I have baby avocados on my tree right now, and they're really cute. Avocados, let's spell it right. And I'm going to guess, yeah, see, it doesn't even show up. Obviously, people search about how to grow avocados, right? But not enough for it to really rank here and to really get some good data from Google Trends. So if something like that happens, go a little broader. If you might be, it doesn't niche down super far in Google Trends. You have to kind of keep it broad for Google Trends to really work. So it's something that you can compare to. Oh, see, but people are searching it in California, which makes sense. I don't see it in Hawaii though, but people are searching it in Hawaii too, trust me. All right, so that's Google Trends. Questions about that one? Kind of a fun way to look for some keywords and see what people are searching and what's most popular. Okay, so the next one is answer the public. So do I need to put in the chat or can you all find that one? Cindy, will you put answerthepublic.com in the chat? I can't find it on my Windows where the chat is right now. Answerthepublic.com. One was made up by a guy named Neil Patel, who puts his face on everything, which I always think is a little odd, but hey, whatever. So let's do the same thing here. This one's kind of fun. Let's start with gardening and search. And this one will give you, I believe it's, oh yeah, it says right here, 3 searches a day on the free version. If you want more than that, you have to upgrade to the paid version. So when you use this, just make sure you use your searches carefully. So this tells us the search volume is around 33,000, which is pretty high, and that the cost per click is $1.46, which we don't have anything to compare to yet, but we'll look at Botany in a minute and compare it and see which one is cheaper to use to be able to get clicks. And oh, I want it on the wheel. It's not showing me the wheel today. It has a cool wheel. Sure, I don't know why it won't. Okay, so normally it'll show you a wheel with all these different questions about gardening in it. And I don't know why it's not coming up for us right now. It might be that my internet is running a little slow, so it might just still be thinking. It might come up in a minute. But it shows a wheel and then like 30 or 40 different questions that people are Googling right now about gardening. And some of them are really great. Like if you're going to write a blog about a topic, it's great to use Answer the Public and think of like weird blog topics that people are answering questions about, asking questions about on Google. And some of them are super weird too, but it's kind of fun just to see what people are putting in there. And then the prepositions will be things like, how do I garden? Why would I garden? Just interesting things like that. I don't know why it doesn't want to pull up for me right now. We'll see if it comes up a little bit later. Or is it coming up for y'all? Did anybody put something in Answer the Public, and is it giving you a cute little circle wheel? No, I wonder if the site's just not working right now. Okay, well, we're not gonna sit and watch that if it's not gonna work right, but it's a great site to get some more information, more ideas for topics, keywords, long tail keywords, any topic you want to, you can put in here, and we'll try botany and see maybe if it'll work for botany. It doesn't like it today. Okay. Well, you have to take my word for it then. Go in and play with it, create a free account, make a little wheel, and it shows you all these different ideas and gives you a lot of good feedback for different keywords, different questions people are asking about the topic that you want. The third tool that we can use for keyword research is Ubersuggest. And again, you can just put in a topic, and this one I think also may make you register before it'll let you use it. It says I'm signed out. But okay. There we go. Okay, so Ubersuggest says, I just put in gardening, search volume is 33,000, SEO difficulty is 72, paid difficulty is 99, so that's pretty difficult. Cost per click is $1.46. Now, if we want to put in botany instead, we can compare and see which one might be easier. So this is a higher cost per click, but it says paid difficulty is easy. So that's an interesting, I don't know, juxtaposition to think about a little bit. But again, these just give you some things to think about, some keyword ideas, and some ways. Okay, botany garden is a keyword, botany definition, okay. Botany Legos, are there botany Legos? That's weird. But you can see some of the things that people are searching, some of the common things, botany farms, and some content ideas, endangered species, different botany departments. That makes sense. So just some ideas for keywords and keyword research there. Okay, questions about keywords? Okay. So successful SEO is not about tricking Google. It's about partnering with Google to provide the best search results for Google users. Phil Frost founded a company called Main Street ROI. So he's good with the SEO and with getting return. Next, we're going to talk about a plugin for WordPress called Yoast. It's super popular and it helps you to add the SEO data into your web pages as you build them. Yoast is also available in Wix and Shopify, and Squarespace has something similar that they call SEO Space for Squarespace specifically. Yoast is probably available on a few other CMSs as well, but there are alternatives to Yoast as well. So let's first take a look at Yoast, and then Cindy's going to give us an alternative to Yoast. So the things that we're going to add when we look at the SEO data in Yoast are our keywords or phrases, our slug. The slug is what goes after the slash. So making waves, websolutions.com/home/about. That's the slug. Okay. We'll have a meta description. The meta description is what shows up when you do a Google search. There's some words underneath whatever you put into search on each page. That's the meta description. So that's what people see as a description before they click on a page. And then we'll look at the in-depth analysis just a little bit. And then again, I want to put this in the chat for you all. So I'm going to copy it and put it in the chat for y'all right now, because I want you to have it for later. This is a fun little article made by the people at Yoast themselves about how you don't want to always chase all green lights on Yoast. I actually have a client. Well, let's go look at Yoast first, and then I'll tell you the story about my client who wanted green lights so bad that she sacrificed everything else to get them. Okay, so let's go over to my website, and we're just going to come. This is a WordPress dashboard. Some of you have seen this before. Some of you are familiar with it. If you don't use WordPress, don't worry about what this part looks like, but I'm going to go into the edit just on the about page. And I'm being a little slow. Sorry, guys. Zoom does that. Zoom slows everything down just a little bit. And we're going to come down to where it says Yoast SEO at the bottom and click that caret to open things up. And on my About Me page, I have a focus keyword of about, which is boring, but pretty normal. And then it shows what people will see if they're on a mobile phone as the meta description, or I can click desktop and it'll show what a Google search would look like on desktop. The slug again is about, and the meta description, I just put in, hi, I'm Heather. I love communicating and empathizing with my clients and teaching them to become self-sufficient with their websites. I could probably do better and throw in a few more keywords about the courses and teaching, but I actually wrote this meta description when I very first started my company 2 years ago. So I could probably do a little bit better. Like maybe I need to talk about teaching and courses since that's more what I'm focused on now. So it's something just for me to think about and consider and change as I move on. Then we can go into this analysis. Things that I could improve are using my key phrase in the meta description. So it's the word about, so that may or may not make sense in this particular case. Key phrase in subheadings. So in my H2s and H3s, it likes it if you put your subheading in there. In this case, that might not make sense. Do I want the word about 4 or 5 times in my web page? Probably not. That's probably not the best use of wording on my website. And text length, it likes it when you have 300 words or more. Again, that very much depends on a page. On a contact page, you're probably never going to have more than 300 words, but on an about page, it might make sense. And other things that it's looking for here are outbound links, image key phrases. So using the key phrase on your image titles and alt text, you're using images on a page, internal links, key phrase introduction, key phrase in the introduction, using the key phrase more than once throughout the wording, but not too many times. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Key phrase length, meta description length. So all of these different things, it's given me a lot of green lights here. So that article that I just showed, that I just linked for you guys, talks about the temptation of the green light, how a lot of times you start seeing these and you want all green lights, right? It's almost like Yoast has gamified their plugin to help you get good SEO strategies. But if you do nothing but try to get all green lights in Yoast, you might sacrifice actual content for getting green lights. And like I said, I have this client who has a swimming school, and she wanted every single page on her website to have all green lights on everything. And she reworded things so that it would give green lights, and her descriptions didn't sound like her anymore and weren't as compelling and interesting because she was going after just green lights on Yoast. And so I told her, like, stop worrying about it. Like, just don't worry about it. Write like you, sound like you, and you'll reach more people that way. So Yoast isn't perfect. No plugin ever is perfect, but it can help you to start to think about different things within the SEO that will help to build up your SEO and get more people, get more links to Google. Cindy, I would love for you to talk about the newer plugin that you're using instead of Yoast. Would you like to talk about that now?
Yes. So I also have a WordPress website, and I also dabble quite a bit in SEO. There's lots of tools out there. There's outside tools, like I've used Moz, which is great, and it has lots of reading material, and you plug your stuff into it. So if you don't have a WordPress site, there are tools that you can use. I found out about a plugin called Rank Math probably about January or so, and started experimenting with it. And I really like it. One of the reasons why I like it is because the UX of the interface is so much better for me. I was able to figure it out a lot more. So this is the back end of the UX and ATX site, just to show you how all the things that come with it. This is just the free version. It has a few more things that you don't have to do extra. One of them is schema, which is a whole nother thing to learn about, is structured data in a website and how to structure it. This plugin helps you do that. Just like Yoast, you can hook in your analytics, and it gives you a bird's eye view of everything that's coming in here. It's taking a minute to load, I think. Either that, or I'm not using the pro version and it just doesn't care. But it gives you a little bit of a dashboard to work with. And some of the other things, like you can go in and change the settings for your pages, like what should the titles look like? So this is what happens in the search engine results page. What do the titles look like? How do you want to structure all that data? I pulled open a page as well. So this is a page on the UX and ATX website. This is using a block editor, and Rank Math is actually in a slightly different spot. So it's hard for me to show you, but it's over here under this little tab here. And I have not optimized UX and ATX at all. But you can see all in one place what I could be doing. I could enter in a focus keyword, just like what Heather showed you. And then it also will judge your site based on what you have. So are you using that focus keyword in titles, in the search engine, like the title that would appear in the search engine results page, in your meta description? It has other ones here, like how much are you using it in the content? Are you using it in subheadings? Do you have an image with your focus keyword? So it will go through and do very, very similar things to Yoast. I was going to show you what it looks like on a page that I actually have optimized. So this is my business website, and you can see we have a slightly different green where it's giving a score out of 100. And I don't have it on everyone because I don't need it on everyone. So I don't want the careers page to actually rank high on Google. I'm actually trying to hide it because I get slammed by people. So I'm not trying to optimize that, nor am I trying to optimize the privacy policy. But some of the most important ones, I'm making sure that I'm going in on. I don't have a lot of text content on the contact page, so it doesn't make sense to try to optimize this like crazy with the word contact standard Beagle. It would sound weird. So here's the home page where I actually did quite a bit of optimization on this page. And you can see I've added in our focus keyword, which is Austin Design Agency, but I can also add in other keywords, which are kind of secondary. So UX and UX coach. And then I've gone through and made sure that I'm following all the guidelines as much as possible where it makes sense. I don't have an image with the focus keyword and the alt text, but I could probably game the system and make it do that. With posts, it makes a lot more sense. So on my website, we post articles, and this is blog content that's educational. And so I really do try to make sure that each one of those posts has a focus key phrase so that we can, capture that. This one at the top is ranked low because I haven't actually written it yet. But all these others, I've gone through at least the most recent ones and really tried to optimize to what makes sense. And this is an example of one. So you can see up here in the top corner, I've got it to 96 out of 100. I actually did some keyword research, but I used ChatGPT for some of my keyword research and found that healthcare website improvements was probably a good one to go after. So this is what I made sure that I integrated in. And so you can kind of see it in places. It's still my voice and tone, but I'm kind of weaving it in here and there throughout just that key phrase. And then I'm trying to make sure that I have imagery. I'm trying to make it just very readable. And that's the main thing, right? Most of when you're writing content for the web, it ranks highly on Google because if it's a lot of content. Having articles that are 1,500 words or more is actually good for SEO. So it's not hard on blog posts that are longer to really hit the high score with the green bubble or the green ranking for Google. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're thinking through. It's a lot about the content itself. Is that helpful, Heather? Is that what you're looking for?
Cindy, thank you. Yeah, I love that. That's a cool tool too. And that's just like in UX, Figma is one tool, Adobe XD is another tool. There are different tools. It's really all about understanding the point of the tool and why we're using it, what we want to gain from the tool. So it's just like that with SEO as well. You can use any tool you want to find keywords and to optimize content and all of these things. It's just understanding how that works is the main thing. I am going to show you guys Answer the Public because I did finally get the stupid thing finally came up the way I wanted it to. I think it's just slow because of Zoom. But we're back on Answer the Public where we started off talking about the keywords, and I put in the keyword gardening. And here is the wheel that I was talking about. And do you see all these different questions, things that people are actually Googling like in the last few minutes? Why gardening is good for kids, how gardening helps mental health. You can see how if you're looking for maybe a blog topic, or if you want to answer some questions or see what people are looking at, this is a great tool for that. Which gardening newsletter? So there's people looking for newsletters in gardening. There was one recently that was, sometimes they're weird, and I can't find a weird one right now. Gardening when pregnant. Does it matter? I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing to ask. And then we've also got the prepositions. So can, for, with, gardening, with, different, some of these are different people. It's gardening with copper wire. I don't know what that's about, but that's something people are searching. Gardening with raised beds. That's one you probably have heard of if you garden at all. And then comparisons. So gardening and mental health, gardening and landscaping. So it's really an interesting thing to kind of look like maybe landscaping is a better keyword than gardening in your particular case. So it's interesting. You can type in whatever keyword you're considering using and get some ideas for long tail keywords, get some ideas for comparisons and all that stuff with Answer the Public. Okay, so back to where we were. Okay, so content optimization. So Cindy started talking about this just a little bit, so that was a great introduction. When you're writing your content, you want to include your keywords, but you don't want to include them too much. You don't want it to sound unnatural. So including them too much is called keyword stuffing. And now Google is so smart that it can find keyword stuffing and it'll actually rank you lower in searches if you use keywords too much. So I'm going to read just maybe like the first sentence or so of this, and you'll hear that it sounds ridiculous because it's so keyword stuffed. This cake decorating tutorial will show you a cake decorating tutorial on how to decorate a cake. The first part of this cake decorating tutorial, it sounds ridiculous, right? No one is going to talk like that. And it's clearly just trying to use the words cake decorating tutorial 100 times. So if you write like that, one, your audience isn't going to like it. And two, Google isn't going to like it either. So again, these two go hand in hand and work together. So when you're writing content, write naturally in a way that appeals to your audience, and that will appeal to Google as well. And that's important. So when you are writing or when your clients are writing something, help them to write naturally so it sounds like them and attracts the right people to their business. Use headings and subheadings. If you just write 1,500 words, so Cindy's was a great example. If she had just written that 1,500 word post and had no images and no headings and subheadings, it would have been really difficult to read, right? You would have looked at that and went, I'm not reading that. It looks boring. But the way she had it divided up into different things and she had images, it looks a lot more interesting and compelling. Using lists and bullets, the same thing. And SEO, the crawlers, Google all see that and realize that that makes it easier for people to read and ranks it higher based on that. So essentially, the key is writing quality content that real people want to read. And that's what helps you rank higher with Google as well. So the best SEO strategy is actually to focus on the user, which is perfect for user experience, for user experience, because that's what we all do anyway, right? And Marcus Tober is a VP at SEMrush, which is one of the bigger SEO companies around today. So he knows what he's doing. We also want to optimize the images that we use. So first, make sure images are sized properly. We started looking at that just a little bit in class the other day with our coding, where when Cindy put in an image, it was huge. Some of you who were in class probably saw that image that took up the entire screen and then some. If you actually put that on a web page, it looks weird, right? Nobody wants to look at that. And it takes forever to load. So if things take forever to load, that also hurts your SEO, and it hurts people come to your website. People don't want to wait forever for something to load, right? So size the images properly for page use. Make sure they're big enough that they're not pixelated, but small enough that they load quickly and look good on the page. Always include a name for your images and alt text. So alternative text is what people who are people who are visually impaired will use what's called a text reader. So they can't see the images, but they have something reading to them what it says instead. So that's what they will hear, is the description of the image. So using alt text is good for accessibility, it's good for SEO, and it's a good general practice just to be kind to others and to help people to use your page to its best potential. You can also use plugins like Smush, and there are many, many others to help lazy load images. Lazy loading means that rather than a page not pulling up at all until all the images load, it loads the first image at the top, and then as you scroll down, it loads images sequentially, so people aren't waiting on all the images to load at once. It kind of loads them as needed. Questions on optimization? Okay, our last topic about SEO fundamentals is links. So 3 big types of links that people want and need on their websites are internal links, external links, and backlinks. So internal links are links that point to other pages or content on the same website. So you want to use internal links that are relevant, but other than that, use as many as you like. So I'm going to guess that in Cindy's post that she just showed us, she's probably got links to other posts within the UX and ATX page. Why wouldn't she, right? So that's just helping you to improve site navigation for one thing. If people have questions and are wondering about something, it helps them find what they're looking for. It guides users to relevant content that they want to see, that they want to find out more about. It's an opportunity to use your keywords more, and it just promotes the content on your own pages. So it's like free advertising from your own page. Why wouldn't you use internal links, right? And SEO says the same thing, like, yeah, use internal links. That's good for you and it's good for your readers. So that's a win-win, and it's generally fairly easy to do. External links are links that direct users to pages and content on a different website. So this is essentially your website giving someone else a backlink. And that might not seem quite as obvious. Like, why would I want to send people out to other websites? I want them to stay on my website, right? But it's really good for SEO because it shows that your content is part of a larger field of relevant content, that you're willing to improve user experience, not just for your own good, but for the user's good overall. It shows that you're building good quality content for the greater good, not just for your own site. And it shows that you're building relationships within your industry. So those external links are important for that. And again, SEO, Google recognizes that and likes it and increases your SEO score when you do that. So then backlinks. This is one of those things that small business owners are nuts for backlinks, y'all. Every small business owner, pretty much every small business owner I ever talked to is like, how do I get more backlinks? I need a lot of backlinks. And I'm like, okay, but you want good backlinks. It used to be years ago that you could go to some whatever and buy 500 backlinks, and they didn't necessarily go anywhere. They weren't anything that was good, but this was before Google got real smart. And oh, you have 500 backlinks. You must be a really great website with a lot of, good stuff because so many people are linking to you. Then Google got smart. Now, if you just go buy irrelevant backlinks like that, it actually takes you down. It takes your SEO score down. So now it's super important that those backlinks are relevant and good quality backlinks. So how would a small business get someone else to link to their page? So that's an interesting question, right? And it's something, like I said, the small business owners ask me this all the time. One is, if you've got a blog, guest post on other people's blogs. Ask other businesses. So this swim coach, who's a client of mine, she likes to talk to other friends who are small business owners too and say, hey, I'll trade a backlink. Like, you link to my website and I'll link to yours. So she's got another business owner who makes swimwear. Like she sews bikinis, custom bikinis for people. So they traded backlinks. That makes great sense, right? She got her favorite swim goggle company to trade backlinks with her. So that's a great way to do it. And that makes good sense, right? So the key here is to build relationships, not just links. And Scott Wyndham-Kiewicz is a super successful photographer and blogger. And he's built a lot of relationships to get to that point. And that's really the key with the backlinks. It's not just about having your site listed in a lot of places. It's really about building those relationships and getting people who are interested in the right people to give you backlinks to get there. So then here's the frustrating part about SEO. And this is the thing that I always have to take a lot of time to explain to clients. And y'all probably find yourselves in this position too. SEO takes patience. Putting all this stuff into practice and more will take time. And even when you have all this stuff optimized and everything looks good and you think it's perfect, it takes time for Google to see that. And it takes time to build an audience and for real people to see that. The more real people that see it, the more Google sees it, and it comes up and up and up and it plays off each other, but that takes time. So you can put a lot of time and effort and money into SEO and not see much in results for a few months. So don't get discouraged because SEO takes time and patience. And that's really the biggest key here, is to be patient and let it build up over time. Okay, guys, that was a lot of information in a short time. Do you have any questions for me about SEO or anything really?
I actually do, but I don't know if this is like too advanced, but I was wondering if you've noticed how the AI excerpts that we now see in the Google SERP results, how that affects the on-site SEO at all, or because there's some things there, right? Like it's
Yeah,
not just showing the title and the excerpt anymore. It's actually summarizing in some cases the articles, and just what are your
yes.
thoughts there?
Well, that's interesting. And I think that's new enough that I don't know how that's going to affect the SEO of different pages going forward, but it probably will. And I like with all things AI, I think we got to kind of watch and see. It's hard to know exactly what's going to happen with that. And I think, again, Cindy said she's using ChatGPT for keyword research, which is another good tool. I mean, use AI to your advantage, y'all. You might as well, use that and these other things too. So yeah, I mean, use AI where you can. And it'll be interesting to see how, I mean, that's the other thing about SEO. It is always, and UX, it's always evolving. It never stays the same. So even when someone's got their site every page is optimized perfectly and they've got it, perfected exactly the way they want, then you got to go back and do it again because things always change. What people are searching for changes, how things work changes. Google's always learning and growing. So it's never finished. And that's the thing about a website. It's never finished. It's always a work in progress. That was a good question, Sydney.
Thank you.
Heather, my question is on SEO. How involved will we be, once we start going into, I'm just trying to understand like how, right? Like how would I be participating, right? Like, let's say if I have a client of my own.
Okay, so that is a super good question, Jane. And it's one that I can't answer because it could be that you don't really do any SEO at all at your job, or it could be that you're involved in SEO every single day nonstop.
Okay.
And it really
Okay.
depends on who you work for, what your exact job is. If you are an independent contractor and you're working with a client, you're going to be doing some SEO for them. But it's like coding, like at least being able to understand it and talk about it will be helpful.
Yeah,
Cindy, your hand's up. What you got?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, actually, if I could just piggyback on that.
yeah.
As a UX designer, you guys are doing UX, or are you doing SEO? The
Oh.
responsive design and accessibility are so important to SEO because
Okay.
Google's algorithm looks for that. It looks to see how mobile friendly a design is, and it looks to see if a website is accessible. Are they the only things that they're looking at? No, the bigger piece is what Heather presented, but it is the user experience. It is trying to judge it from an algorithm perspective, and if it's missing a good experience, like if it's slow loading, if it's not accessible, if it's not mobile friendly, those are huge dings from Google. Huge. So you have to design it well, and that fundamentally is good SEO.
exactly. And I could have added those topics in here. There's so much more to SEO. I went over just some real basic fundamentals in getting started with SEO. There's a ton more to it. And we could talk all day about all the different things, but like Cindy said, really good user experience is good SEO, and they go hand in hand and they mesh well together. And that's really important, but it's good to understand SEO in general.
What resources do you use? Do you follow like any like SEO blogs or anything like that?
Yeah, SEMrush is a good one. So I included a quote from Marcus Tober, who's a VP there. So SEMrush has a lot of learning tools on their blog. They are a paid site. You can't do much on SEMrush without paying them, but they do have a lot of learning stuff. So I really like SEMrush. And oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to tell you the name of it now.
Can you
There's
repeat that?
WordPress.
Sun?
Yeah, here, let me put it in the, yeah, it's hard. It's a weird name. I don't know why they named their site, their business such a weird name when they're SEO. You'd think they'd name it something easy.
If you
It's,
Google Marcus Tober, it will
SEMrush.
pop up. Yeah,
The name,
SEMrush.
yeah, the name of the company is SEMrush. It's a weird name. There's I think it's called WP Beginners. I think W-P Beginners, something like that. That has also a ton of good information, not just about, it does have a lot of good stuff about SEO, but it also has a lot of good stuff just about WordPress. So if you're building sites in WordPress, or if you have clients who are building WordPress websites, that's a super good resource, because they, you know, any time you've got questions, you can Google it and that site will come up. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick and put it in the chat for y'all too. That's gonna be WP. Is it WP Beginners? Yeah, this one. And you can essentially put almost any question in there and they'll have something in there. And again, they have a lot of stuff on SEO, but they also have just stuff on anything and everything WordPress. So that's nice.
What
Do
other
anybody else have
questions do y'all
questions?
have? Yeah.
What are the plugins like with for like WordPress? I was wondering, or not, I was wondering if you could demonstrate what that's like with the what are the plugins like?
Pull up. Let me hang on. Let me come back. I closed the window that had my WordPress on it, so I gotta open it back up for y'all.
Do you mean other than what we showed you?
Or maybe not even just WordPress, any sort of like, what is the plugin exactly like? Because we've been going
So,
off the best.
so the definition, essentially the definition of a plugin is it's like an app for WordPress. So like you would download an app on your phone to do whatever it is you want to do, from look at the weather to, I don't know, shop to anything, right? Anything you can think of, you can download an app for it. Plugins in WordPress are essentially like that. Anything you want to do with your WordPress site, there's probably a plugin to do it. It's just finding the right one. And a lot of times there'll be 10 or 15 different ones that do the same function in different ways. You have to figure out which one's the best to use. So here, I'm gonna share screen again. Stuff. I've got like messages on my WordPress here, but okay. So everything over here on the left is a plugin. And if we go to plugins and say add a new plugin, we can search and, okay, give me something y'all think that my WordPress website should be able to do. Just anything you think of that my WordPress website should be able to do.
Make
You
this.
should make
Go ahead.
account.
Make an account. Okay. I'm gonna say account and see what comes up. Okay, so this is social feeds. Delete an account. That's probably not what I want. Customize my account for WooCommerce. That might be getting closer. MailChimp, which is emailing. Account engagement. Track visitors, embed forms. Okay, so that might be lock a user account. So you can see just an account, just making an account might not be the right thing we're asking here, but we can see all these different options, right? And the other thing that you always, if you've got a WordPress website, this is super important. You always want to look at the plugin here and see when it was last updated. This one hasn't been updated in 8 months, which is kind of a long time, and I might be a little concerned. It's also untested with my newer version of WordPress. So I'm a little concerned now that maybe that's not the best one, but it does have 5 stars, but look, it's only got 6 reviews. So this might not be a plugin that I'd be super likely to download or try to use. This account engagement one has 16 reviews and only 2.5 stars. So again, that might not be a great one to use. We come up here to Smashballoon for social engagement. It's got 1 million active installations, 4,000 5-star reviews. updated a week ago and it's compatible with my version of WordPress. So this is something that I would be more likely to trust and to not be concerned with putting on my website. And I would be more likely to feel good that I wouldn't have any issues or problems with that plugin. So that's something to think about with any plugin. Does that answer your question, Caleb?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, you bet. Anybody else with questions?
You had mentioned earlier that something about like in order to get higher on Google, not it only taking time, but like people going to your site. Is that people visiting your site via Google, or is that people landing on your site organically?
It's both. It's
Okay.
both. So the more hits you have and the more hits you have from Google always makes it look better and better. And both are great. And that's one of those things, like you probably have friends who have businesses who are like, just go to my website. You don't have to buy anything. Just go to my website, because the more hits you get, the better it looks. Any more questions, guys? I think we're just about out of time, but I can take one more if anybody has one more, and then we'll turn it back over to Cindy.
So the point of, well, it seems like there's a few points to SEO, but one of the main things is you appear further up on the results page.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So if
Yeah,
you have
and go ahead, Andrew, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you have a portfolio website, maybe that's not that important.
In your case, it might not be that important, because honestly, you're probably going to email your portfolio website out to the people that you want to be seeing it. So the SEO probably doesn't matter a ton, but at the same time, if people are finding you because you've got such a great website and it ranks high in Google, maybe that's a super good thing. So, it could go either way. Yeah, and like Cindy was saying, there are certain pages, certain types of websites that, yeah, you don't necessarily want to be ranking on Google. Like I've got the my account page on my website. No one should be finding that organically by searching in Google. Like if you are, there's a problem. So I don't want that to be optimized and be ranking high on Google, right? So that's just something to think about too. And depending on who you are, what you're looking for, you might want to, and we could think about it this way too. Employers might look at your website and look at some of the SEO data. If they can, if you're letting them look at that, they might ask you about it. So it might look good in that way. But for the most part, it's probably not as important with your portfolio website as it will be later on when you're either building websites for clients or working on making sure that your employer looks good in SEO.
Cool. Thanks.
Yes. All right,
Heather,
Cindy, take it over.
thank you so much, Heather. This has been great. I know you could do like a 6-month course on SEO because it's such a specialized skill, but it is important for everybody to understand because people ask about it. And if you're like, well, I have no idea. Well, now you don't. Now you can't say you don't know anything about it. Well, that's it for tonight. Hopefully we'll have another in-person event coming up soon. We're still working on planning that, and I will announce that on Slack as soon as we have that scheduled. In the meantime, y'all go stay cool and enjoy the summer solstice. All right. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Bye.
Great to see
All
you.
right. I am going to